All right, joining us now, the superintendent of Terrebonne Parish Schools, and we go from one to the other, and everybody has their logistical nightmares. And Philip, to say everyone has their logistical nightmares is an understatement, because I've seen the schools. I've been down the bayous, and I've seen the damage, and God bless y'all. Y'all got a chore in your hand. How's it going?
Well, you know, some days it certainly feels like it's one step forward and two steps back. Mm-hmm. This rain certainly is hampering our efforts tremendously. Most of the work is roof work, and the process to do it has to be dry. So we're going to lose a week, unfortunately. We had some tentative start dates that were contingent upon good weather, but unfortunately, I'm afraid we're going to start pushing some of those back. As you pointed out, all our schools sustained some damage, mm-hmm. some minor, some catastrophic, mm-hmm. and everything in between. 5 schools, as of this morning, have electricity out of 34 schools. So we still have the vast majority of schools still without electricity. So we can't even begin contemplating opening until power is restored. And by the way, on that electricity topic, I have a new category of heroes, linemen.
Yeah.
You know,
mm-hmm.
they are doing just, a remarkable job, and we all have to be patient and understand that they're working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, and they're everywhere from Massachusetts to Washington State.
And when say when, because we are going to have parades again. We're going to rebuild and regrow. They ought to be in our parades.
I agree. Those guys, like I said, I have a new category of heroes. Mm-hmm. We've all seen them working, and we know when you looked at the damage, your first thought is, will we ever have electricity again?
Right.
Well, parts of the parish have already been restored, which is, to me, just a remarkable. Mm-hmm. But back to the school system, most buildings had some damage, and most of the damage was roof damage, which created a double-edged sword, because then now you have a water intrusion problem, and the schools are sitting there with water in them, and we're drying them out with no air conditioning, and that leads to a plethora of different types of issues mm-hmm. that we have to be very careful of. We will be reopening our school system. It will not look the same. Mm-hmm. It will be the same school system. It won't look the same when we reopen, i.e., we know there are some schools we cannot use. So we will have to regroup. We're having to think out the box, and we're meeting again this afternoon at 3 o'clock to begin working out some of those details.
So logistically, you're talking about details before we get to sports. And people say, why are you talking about sports? Because it's important to the kids and the students and everybody
Absolutely.
else. But logistically, you may have to combine schools or do
no question.
Things.
There'll be combining, sharing, piggybacking, whatever word, we're mm-hmm. trying to work that out. And, we think we get a scenario worked out only to find out, on initial assessments of a school, you make certain assessments only to find out we missed that. This rain is pointing out some mm-hmm. things. We thought a school was okay. Well, it's not.
Right.
So those are things that we'll have to deal with, and we are. And mm-hmm. we have a large group of contractors that are working on our schools, and they're doing an excellent job. We all have to learn to be patient, including mm-hmm. the superintendent.
But you have the same problem that Clay Knockin has, that Gordy has, that the people picking up the trash have. You're the largest employer in Terrebonne Parish.
By far.
And these people have homes, too, that they don't have anymore. So you got a large problem.
And Martin, that is very well put. We have to constantly remind ourselves that the school is the building that the kids go to, but the community is really the school, mm-hmm. And the community that school serves. And many of our communities have been severely impacted, and we can't be insensitive to that, and mm-hmm. we have to factor that in when we reopen, knowing that some may not be able to come back. Mm-hmm. We understand all of that, but we also feel that when our community, when the first grader is catching the bus in the morning, going to school, and riding the bus home in the afternoon, I think we will begin to feel a sense of normalcy, mm-hmm. that when schools are in session And I think it's going to help parents in that while they're trying to recover, recuperate, rebuild, that they know there's a place where their child's safe, being educated, getting a good meal, and being taken care of while they're tending to their business at home.
I told the crew yesterday, the only way to be normal is to act normal sometimes. And even though you know every chaos is all around you,
Yeah.
sometimes you just got to start acting normal, then the next person acts normal, and before you know it, everybody's acting normal.
Well, and we all need to remind ourselves of that. And this morning, I should have I got some disheartening news, and, I have to remind myself, don't kill the messenger. So we have to be aware of that, and I may have set some unreasonable deadlines that sometimes you have to relinquish and say, okay, we have to back up a little bit.
And I think forgiveness at this point, too, is, you're the superintendent. They all going to look at you. And it's better to set a quicker deadline than one that's so far back that everybody just loses faith. You could always adjust your deadline.
Yeah, that is a good point. That that optimism is an attribute we all should have, and I'm a very optimistic person, and I may have set some overly optimistic deadlines but I agree with you that if you set one that's so far back, people are like, so
I'm leaving.
And look,
Yeah.
we have meetings every day with every group, and we all have to remind ourselves this is a very fluid situation. It changes from the morning to the afternoon. You find out, I didn't know
Hold
that.
that thought, Philip. I'm going to come back, let you finish your thought. We'll talk about sports and
Okay.
all that. That's important. We'll be right back. Don't go away.